Welcome, traveler. Tonight, we follow an ancient road, one whispered about for over 1,000 years. A road of petals and memory, darkness and gentleness, where every step leads deeper into the quiet beneath the world. This story draws from the myths of Mictlan, the realm of rest in Mexica tradition, not a place of fear, but a place of release, a place where burdens are set down, layer by layer, until only truth remains. As you listen, let your breath soften, feel your shoulders loosen. There's no destination to rush toward, only a journey to experience. Each chamber you'll hear is symbolic, letting go of others' grief, recognizing your own regrets, finding the courage to walk forward. If you're watching this to fall asleep, allow the imagery to blur gently around the edges. If you're here for reflection, let the symbols settle quietly in the back of your mind. When you're ready, we begin our descent. The first thing you notice is the temperature of the dark, not cold, but cool in a way that gathers along your shoulders, as if the air has been waiting here a very, very long time. It brushes the skin like river water, slow and steady, and carries the faintest drift of marigold pollen, sweet, a little dusty, bright even without light. Under your feet, something soft compresses. When you look down, you find a trail of petals, glowing with a gentle amber warmth. They feel comforting against the soles of your feet, like walking across memories. Each step releases a whisper of perfume, light enough to breathe without thinking. The air tastes faintly of smoke and honey. Around you, the dark is not empty. It has weight, like a thick blanket, holding sound close so nothing echoes. Somewhere deeper, you can hear a quiet rustle, like dry reeds stirring in wind that does not reach you. The sensation curls around your ribs, not fear, but anticipation. As you follow the petal trail, the air changes texture. The coolness lifts, replaced by a soft thermal warmth that rolls from below. The way earth feels near a volcanic spring. The scent shifts too, richer, deeper, like incense burned in temples, where prayers are older than language. Ahead, a doorway waits, carved from volcanic stone. Its surface carries patterns of swirling lines, each groove filled with faint blue light. When you draw closer, the air trembles slightly, as though the stone itself is breathing. You can feel the vibration through your fingertips when you brush it. Warm, steady, alive. This is one of the entrances to Mictlan, the underworld beneath all underworlds, not a place of punishment, but of passage. Souls come here as river water flows to the sea. The silence is deep enough to calm the heart. When the stone door shifts aside, it releases a slow breath of earth-warm wind, scented with obsidian dust. The petals under your feet brighten, urging you forward. Somewhere beyond, a presence waits with infinite patience. You step through. On the far side of the stone threshold, the air becomes drier, the way desert wind feels when it crosses old bones. The warmth beneath your feet shifts from soft petals to powdered earth, fine as ash. It coats the skin lightly, like flour on fingertips. When you breathe in, it tastes faintly metallic, like the breath of iron. Ahead, the passage narrows, walls pressed close, carved from volcanic glass. They pulse with tiny flecks of color, trapped starlight blinking behind obsidian skin. As you walk, the dust begins to stir around your ankles, lifting in tiny whirlwinds that brush against your legs with feather-light pressure. At first, they make no sound, but as you continue, threads of whispering rise from the swirling grains. Some are warm, like remembered laughter. Others carry the thin edge of regret, brittle and sharp. Each whisper holds a name, spoken softly, curling against your ears before dissolving back into the dust. Your heartbeat slows, not from fear, but recognition. These whispers belong to those who walked this path before you. Their stories drift like smoke, fragments of joy, sorrow, unfinished apologies. As you reach the end of the narrow hall, the dust lifts higher, rising to your chest, then your shoulders, swirling around your face in a luminous spiral. It does not choke or blind you. Instead, it listens. The particles press lightly against your sternum, as if waiting for the steady rhythm beneath. You feel something open, not in the lungs, but deeper, behind the ribs, where memory hides its strongest rooms. When the dust settles, it leaves a tingling warmth across your chest, like fingers tracing constellations on skin. It has weighed your heart gently, measuring intention. A low rumble rolls through the corridor, and the passage widens once more. The petals return beneath your feet, glowing brighter. You're permitted to continue. The corridor slopes downward until you reach a cavern that hums with deep, seismic vibrations. The sound is felt before it's heard, tiny tremors traveling through your soles, up your legs, settling in the bones of your hips. Ahead lies a vast riverbed, dry and cracked, filled with stone slabs that tremble in place, shifting like restless tectonic plates. When your foot touches the first slab, it shivers beneath you, as if afraid. The warmth of volcanic heat pulses upward, and the surface feels strangely alive, like skin stretched over something watchful. Each step creates tiny aftershocks that ripple outward. The stone smells faintly of damp clay and the mineral breath of underground springs. As you move, the trembling intensifies. Stones rattle together in quiet clacks, a chorus of teeth chattering in the cold. The path forces you to shift your weight carefully, too quickly, and the slab sinks slightly, releasing a sudden chill from the cracks below. Too slowly, and the trembling grows aggressive, pushing upward against your balance. Halfway across, the vibrations change. They become a rhythm, steady and pulsing, echoing the slow heartbeat of the earth. Your body begins to sway with it instinctively, and the slabs calm under your feet, settling like animals, soothed by familiar touch. A soft mist rises from the fissures, warm and humid. It smells of limestone and ancient rain. You inhale, and the air relaxes your shoulders, loosening tension you didn't know you carried. The cavern settles into quiet agreement. At the far side, the last slab rises slightly, lifting you gently onto solid ground. The petals reform beneath your feet, bright with approval. You have passed the trial of balance, not of body, but of intention. Beyond the river, the path opens into a wide plain under a low, vaulted ceiling. Here the ground is covered in bone-thin grasses, pale as moonlit parchment. They sway without wind, moving in soft waves that brush gently against your knees. The grass makes a sound like soft chimes, the faint click of ceramic beads. Each blade is hollow and delicate, but when you bend to touch one, it is surprisingly strong. It carries the memory of marrow. As you step forward, the chimes organize themselves into patterns, tones rising and falling. The air vibrates lightly against your eardrums, and you feel the melody inside your jaw, down the back of your tongue. It is a song of passage, sung by those who left their bodies behind. The temperature here is cool enough to raise goosebumps along your arms, but not uncomfortable. It smells faintly of clean linen and the sterile sweetness of a quiet hospital room, places where endings are tender. When the bone grass brushes against your skin, it leaves behind a sensation like pins of light, soft, tingling warmth traveling down your limbs. The chime song shifts, aligning with your footsteps. The plane seems to read the pace of your heartbeat, calming its own tempo to match. At the far horizon, a low shimmer rises from the ground. Approaching, you see it is a gate, woven from delicate vertebrae, each bone carved with slivers of turquoise and jet. When you pass beneath it, the chimes hush, as if bowing their heads. A faint warmth settles at the base of your skull, like a blessing whispered just behind the ear. You have passed the trial of softness to move gently through what is fragile. The tunnel narrows again, leading to a chamber lit by floating embers that drift like fireflies. The air is warmer here, scented with burnt sugar and the faint tang of dried blood. It gathers at the back of the throat, thick and slightly sweet. At the center stands a stone altar. Its surface is smooth, rounded by countless touches. When you lay your palms upon it, the warmth spreads through your fingers, traveling into your wrists like honey seeping into cracks. A voice rises, not spoken aloud, but printed gently onto the inside of your mind. It hums like vibrating bone, rich and distant. All who enter Mictlan bring an offering. From the corner of the room, a clay bowl lifts into the air, hovering at chest height. Inside, a small flame flickers, not hungry, but curious. Its light shimmers against your clothes, revealing tiny motes of gold. The flame smells of copal resin, sacred smoke used to bridge the living and the dead, and it asks silently for something intangible, a memory you can release. You breathe in, tasting warmth and spice. When you exhale, a single memory rises from your chest like a bubble breaking through water. It floats into the flame and curls into smoke, leaving behind surprising weightlessness. The altar warms further, accepting. The chamber brightens with more drifting embers, each flicker carrying the scent of home, bread baking, candles melting, laughter in kitchens crowded with family. The presence in your mind speaks again, softer this time. You may continue. The clay bowl settles, the flame dims, and deep within your ribs, where grief often hides, a quiet space opens. The path slopes downward into a corridor lined with hundreds of skulls, set into the stone like pearls in dark sand. They are not grisly. Their surfaces have been polished until they shine like river pebbles. Some are cracked in delicate spiderweb patterns, filled with thin seams of gold that catch the ember light. The air here cools noticeably. It carries a faint mineral chill, the way cave water smells when it drips from stalactites into ancient pools. Your footsteps become a soft echo, cushioned by the petals still blooming beneath your soles. Their glow fainter now, as if conserving energy. As you walk, the skulls begin to hum, each at a slightly different pitch. The sound vibrates along your jawbone and settles deep behind your ear canals, comforting in a way you cannot explain. They are not haunting melodies, they are memory tones, the subtle frequencies left behind by lived lives. The corridor narrows, the hum deepens. You find yourself listening not with ears, but with ribs, sternum, and spine. The vibration massages tension tucked between vertebrae, loosening knots that grief once tied. A thin mist curls along the floor, cool against your ankles. It smells faintly of chalk dust and old journals, like pages turned long after the ink has faded. The humming skulls seem to read the shift in your breathing and answer by softening their tone, offering space. When the corridor widens again, the humming fades into a gentle silence, so spacious it feels like a hand brushing hair from your forehead. Ahead, a circular archway waits, carved with spiraling knots. You step through. The chamber beyond is vast, ceilings lost in darkness, walls shaped like the ribs of a colossal ancient beast. The petals underfoot dissolve into warm obsidian glass that reflects your silhouette in wavering, watery shapes. The air tastes of dried citrus and warm copper. At the room's center resides the guardian. It does not stand so much as float, suspended slightly above the ground. Its form is humanoid at first glance, but elongated, limbs slender as river reeds, joints rotating with smooth, liquid grace. Its skin is matte black, patterned with faint, luminescent glyphs that drift across the surface like bioluminescent plankton. Where eyes should be, two voids glow with a gentle, amber warmth. The face is expressionless, but not cold. It feels like the calm attention of a teacher who has seen centuries. When the guardian moves, its body produces a sound like bone bells submerged underwater, soft, muted chiming that ripples through the air. You feel heat gathering behind your sternum, a slow, molten pulse. The guardian tilts its head slightly, acknowledging it. Without speaking, it projects a sensation. Show me your strength, not muscle, not force, the strength to continue when burdened. The chamber floor shifts, a subtle tremor. Obsidian ripples outward in concentric rings, raising small walls and shifting platforms that glide silently into new configurations. The temperature rises a few degrees. A dry electric scent prickles along your arms. Ahead, 3 platforms extend, uneven distances, each edged by sheer drops into shadow. Their surfaces pulse, faintly with light, as though they possess heartbeats of their own. The guardian drifts backward, inviting you to navigate them. You step onto the first platform. It tilts gently, testing your distribution of weight. The material is warm, slightly pliable, like walking on thick, stretched leather. You feel your pulse in your feet. The room's hum intensifies. The skull, melodies, returning from far behind, now carrying a deeper resonance. Your breathing instinctively synchronizes, a slow inhale through the nose, an even slower exhale, spine lengthening with each release. The second platform requires a longer step. The space between yawns wider than comfort. Your stomach drops, but the breath steadies the tremor in your knees. When your foot lands, the platform shivers, but settles. The air around you begins to rotate gently, a spiraling heat that presses against the small of your back. It reminds you of standing too close to an open oven door. Dry warmth with a faint sweetness. The guardian watches silently, glyphs shifting like thoughts along its limbs. The third platform is the smallest. Its edges shimmer faintly with heat, distortion, like asphalt in midday sun. As you step onto it, the heat climbs the ladder of your spine, rung by rung, until it reaches the base of your skull. Your breath threatens to shorten, but you lengthen the exhale. Shoulders drop. The heat loses its teeth. The platform brightens beneath your feet. Approval. The guardian glides closer. Its amber gaze warms your sternum, melting a layer of old fear you didn't realize you still carried. As you pass the guardian, something gentle brushes your shoulders, like warm soot falling from cedar branches. Tiny sparks float around you, weaving themselves into a cloak of ember threads. It is impossibly light, no weight at all, yet it rests across your collarbones with the quiet gravity of responsibility. The cloak smells of campfire smoke on crisp clothing, the sort that lingers long after the flames go cold. When you inhale, warmth spreads across your chest, settling in tired ribs. The guardian lifts one elongated hand and traces a symbol in the air. It glows with deep carnelian, hovering briefly before sinking into the fabric of the cloak. The sensation is like cool water poured across overheated skin. It leaves you clearer, steadier. Without speaking, the guardian expresses a final message. You will need protection from what remembers. Its fingers fold inward like closing petals. The glyphs along, its limbs dim slightly, entering rest. The petals return beneath your feet, brighter than before. The next passage slopes downward into spiraling steps, cut into stone so smooth they feel like polished wood. Each step is wrapped in woven mats of dried reeds, fragrant with herbs that crackle softly beneath pressure. Mugwort, copal leaf, lavender, the scents rise like steam, soothing the throat. The temperature drops again. Coolness gathers around your calves, rising like fog. But your cloak's ember threads respond, warming gently, releasing faint crackles that sound like fire, whispering secrets to darkened coals. Your chest remains warm. Your lungs expand fully. Halfway down, you notice the walls have shifted from volcanic glass to a layered fossil texture. Compressed bones of ancient creatures stacked like pages in a stone book. They shimmer faintly with pale oils, catching light in thin iridescent sheets. Your fingertips trail the wall. It is smooth, cool, slightly oily, leaving a sheen on your skin that smells faintly of rain hitting hot pavement. You descend deeper. The hum returns, lower now, resonant enough to vibrate through your ankles and knees. Each pulse feels like the heartbeat of a sleeping mountain. At the bottom, the steps release you into a chamber of velvety darkness. In the center stands an arched opening, its rim draped with strands of obsidian beads. When you brush through them, the beads clack softly, like teeth greeting teeth. There is breath behind the doorway, not yours. You cross through. The path narrows gently, the petal trail tapering until only a dusting remains beneath your feet. The floor changes texture too, first soft, then firmer, then something smooth and cool, like polished stone kissed by moonlight. When you lower your gaze, you see that the darkness has thinned into a faint, glimmering shine. It takes a moment to understand. You are standing on bone, not crude or jagged, not broken, but worked smooth by ages of passing souls, worn down to a pale, lustrous sheen, like ivory reshaped by flowing time. The surface curves gently underfoot, and each footfall produces the softest, hollow hum, like tapping porcelain with a fingertip. Far ahead, as your eyes adjust, a gentle glow appears, reflected light dancing across what seems to be water, but the scent tells you otherwise. There is no brine, no damp. Instead, you smell dust, warmed by sun, that can no longer reach this place, and a faint sweetness, like dried flowers stored in cedar. The corridor widens until the walls fall away entirely, and suddenly you stand at the edge of a vast underground river. At first glance, the waters seem calm, silken, unbroken. But as your eyes grow tender to the hush of this dark, you notice tiny ripples, hundreds, thousands, each one glimmering faintly, like moonlight scattered across black silk. Then you see them. Floating along the surface are bones, tens of thousands, maybe millions. Ribs like pale crescent moons bob gently in slow currents. Lengths of femur, light as driftwood, clink softly together when the water shifts. Little finger bones, delicate as seashells, swirl in eddies like pale petals. It should be frightening, but somehow it isn't. The river is quiet, with purpose. Here, bones are not remains. They are memories that have been set free from burden. You step closer to the edge and kneel. Your fingertips hover an inch above the surface. The river responds, not with a splash, but with a spreading bloom of soft, blue luminescence, like watercolor bleeding across paper. The glow hums faintly against your palm. You do not touch it. You don't need to. The hum climbs gently into your hand, up your wrist, settling behind your sternum. There, it feels like recognition, like someone calling your name, but the version spoken to you as a child, soft at the doorway, in a voice you trusted completely. A soft scraping sound reaches you from behind. You turn. A boat approaches, low, flat, carved from a single slab of obsidian. Its surface is glossy black, veined with faint green lines that pulse like slow heartbeats. There is no oarsman, no rope. It simply glides forward, guided by a current that reveals no movement. The boat stops at the riverbank before you, and its hull tilts slightly, as though exhaling an invitation. You hesitate, but not from fear, from reverence. You step forward, 1 foot into the boat. Its surface warms under your weight, adjusting to the shape of your soul. You pause, settle, then place the 2nd foot. Balance finds you. The boat drifts away from shore without a sound. Behind you, the pedal path fades into dark. Ahead, The river stretches into a cavern, so large you cannot see its ceiling, but you can feel it, high, vast, echoing with the slow breath of the underworld. As the ferry drifts, you look down. Bones slide beneath the surface, like schools of fish, ribs twirling, vertebrae tumbling in gentle spirals, skulls drifting past with hollow eyes that glimmer faintly inside. Their movement is slow, unhurried, patient as earth. Occasionally, a bone nudges the hull. Each tap creates a soft chime, not discordant, but musical. Together, they form a drifting lullaby, notes clinking like glass wind chimes in soft wind. You listen. The song changes subtly as you move deeper. Some notes ring bright and sharp, like laughter striking stone. Others are deep and hollow, like memories wrapped in distance, and woven between them, the faint hum of sorrow. You place both palms flat against the rail. The grain of obsidian feels smoother than silk, warmer than metal, textured like river-polished stone. The green veins throb gently, matching your breath. For every inhale, they brighten. For every exhale, they fade. Your heart slows to match them. The boat carries you beneath towering stalactites, each one tipped with tiny skeletal flowers, vertebrae stacked into curling blossoms, pelvises arranged like lilies, clavicles bent like petals. They hang overhead like chandeliers crafted by time. As you pass beneath them, dust falls, fine and shimmering, like pollen from forgotten altars. It lands in your hair, on your shoulders, on the back of your hand. When you brush it with a thumb, it feels like powder and warmth, leaving a faint spark on your skin. Another sound joins the river's song, not chimes, not hums, a faint whispering. At first, it seems like wind, but there is no wind here. Then words begin to gather shape, murmured syllables in a language older than breath. You cannot understand them, but you feel their meaning. You are remembered. The boat slows. It drifts toward a bank made of bones arranged like river stones, layered and smoothed into a gentle slope. There, a figure stands, tall, still, wrapped in robes, the color of storm shadows. The guardian of the Bone River waits without movement. Their face is hidden behind a mask shaped from a skull, not crude bone, but carved jade, polished to a mirror sheen. In the hollows of its eyes glows a dim amber light. As you draw close, the guardian raises one arm, not threatening, welcoming. Their sleeve flows like liquid dusk, embroidered with spiraling patterns of rib and spine. When your boat touches the bank, the guardian's voice arrives like breath carried across silk. You have crossed without weight. That is rare. They tilt their head. Tell me, whose bones do you carry in memory? You open your mouth. At first, nothing comes. But then, you speak a name. One you haven't said aloud in years. Someone who once placed a hand on your shoulder when you were small and scared. Someone whose absence left the faint ache behind your ribs that resurfaces on quiet nights. The guardian nods slowly. Good, they say. Memory offered freely becomes light instead of burden. They beckon. You step onto the bone bank. The surface is firm, surprisingly so. Each bone is arranged like river cobbles, intentional, supportive. Beneath your feet, they emit soft taps, not hollow, resonant like a heartbeat echoing through stone. The guardian extends their hand. In their palm rests a single vertebra, polished to a mirror finish. Engraved upon it is a symbol you cannot read, but you feel its meaning settle in your chest. Release. The guardian lifts the bone and places it gently into your hands. You may keep this, they whisper, until you understand what weight you must shape it into. The bone warms. Your fingers curl around it instinctively. Then, the guardian points downstream, where the river bends sharply and disappears around a wall of ribs entwined like archways. Past this bend lies the next gate. You will not cross it alone. They gesture again, and from behind them steps a small figure, no older than a child, barefoot, wrapped in a cloak of stitched petals. Their face is painted half white, half black, with tiny marigold petals pressed onto their cheeks. Their eyes hold a soft glow, like candlelight in a shrine. This child will guide you, the guardian says. Their voice is a lantern. The child nods silently and climbs into the ferry. You follow, holding the vertebra close. The guardian places a hand on the hull, and the boat shivers gently. The bones along the riverbank chime in response, like a farewell whispered through porcelain bells. Then, quietly, may your passage be light, the ferry drifts. The guardian fades into the dark. You sit opposite the child. They do not speak. Instead, they hum. The sound is small, but it spreads across the river like ripples in still water. Bones beneath the surface respond, arranging themselves into currents that carry you more swiftly. The hum drones on. It tastes like candle smoke and childhood lullabies. Your eyelids grow heavy. The vertebra in your hand pulses once, warm, steady, like a heartbeat returning to its body. Around you, the cavern walls darken, narrowing like the throat of a sleeping beast. The river flows faster, winding through ribs and pipes and narrow tunnels. Ahead, faint orange glow bleeds from an opening. The child stops humming. Their eyes lift. We are arriving, they whisper, voice small, but very certain. You turn, and your breath catches. The river opens into a vast circular chamber whose walls are lined with arches of bone, each holding a candle burning with marigold flame. Hundreds, thousands, flickering in slow waves, like fireflies breathing in unison. At the center, suspended by chains of spinal links, hangs a great wheel of skulls, each one polished, carved, engraved with intricate spirals. Slow rotation sends patterns of light dancing across the chamber, painting the walls with warm gold and deep shadow. This is the Bone River's heart. The ferry drifts into a perfect circle, carved into the center of the water, and the vertebra in your palm glows brighter, warming your wrist, your forearm, your chest. The child looks at you. You must decide how you will carry the dead. Their voice echoes across the chamber, reverberating through skull and shadow. The wheel of skulls slows. The flames bow inward. The bones beneath the river fall still. Everything waits, silent, breath held, patient as eternity. You inhale and feel the weight of memory shift. Here, bone becomes choice. Here, the river asks, will you carry sorrow as burden? or as offering, your answer rises slowly, like marrow warming inside old bone. You look at the vertebra. It gleams. You are ready. The chamber exhales with you, and the river moves again. The ferry drifts away from the heart of the bone river, gliding not by oars, not by current, but by something softer, something almost like intention itself. The waters ripple beneath you, black and smooth, reflecting the faint amber gleam of candles still far behind, as though the river remembers every soul that has passed. Bones slide beneath the surface, sliding in quiet currents, brushing one another like whispered greetings. Each contact produces a faint chime, soft, melodic, never urgent. It is a lullaby carried along by time itself. The child sits at the prow, quiet and still. Their cloak, stitched from overlapping petals, flickers in the low light. Each step the fairy takes creates ripples of reflection, dancing like sparks across the obsidian water. Their painted face is half white, half black, with tiny marigold petals pressed to their cheeks. Their eyes, candlelit, patient, seem to absorb the river, drinking in its slow, deliberate rhythm. Without a word, they hum. The sound is soft, a gentle vibration that resonates through the hull of the boat. You feel it in your chest, matching the vertebra you hold in your hand, warm and pulsing with quiet insistence. The river narrows, walls rising smooth as volcanic glass. Tiny fissures glow like veins of ember blood, and the ceiling presses gently closer, like a hand cupped above your head. The heat here is not oppressive. It is a measured warmth, coaxing the body to slow, to bend with the river's rhythm. It carries the scent of late summer fields, soil warmed by sun, marigolds pressed between ancient pages, memory blooming in the chest. Your cloak responds, the ember threads catching the light, faint sparks floating upward, brushing against your arms, dissolving into the air. Ahead, the passage abruptly ends. Rising before you is an archway so monumental it feels cathedral-like, wider than streets you've walked, taller than the tallest trees. Its frame is woven entirely of femurs and humeri, each bone carved into intricate spirals that interlock with lunar precision. And yet, the awe does not come from scale alone. The arch glows from smoke. Gold marigold smoke flows from braziers set into the skeletal structure, drifting in the lazy spirals, shimmering between copper and honey tones. The smoke is alive, carrying movement of its own, curling and weaving through invisible currents. Within it, symbols older than agriculture, older than language, seem to drift, shapes hinting at promises, at weight, at memory. The fairy slows, then stops. The child rises, stepping lightly onto the bone-strewn shore. Their cloak flutters like petals in a hidden wind. Their eyes catch the faint firelight of the marigold smoke. They tilt their head, small, precise, and silent. You step from the boat. The instant your feet touch the ground, the smoke responds, coiling gently around your ankles, wrapping upward, guiding each step without force. It does not impede, it encourages. You feel it pressing softly against your ribs, a warmth that does not rush, a gentle insistence that draws you forward. The child speaks, voice calm, almost melodic. This is the arch of marigold smoke. Those who pass through can no longer lie to themselves. Their candle-lit eyes reflect faint fractures of memory, those subtle breaks in your own history you thought were invisible. The lies we tell ourselves, they seem to say, cannot survive here. They gesture toward the arch. You take the first step. The smoke curls around your chest, pressing, soft but deliberate. It carries the scent of home and sun, of dusted petals, of rain on dry earth. Shapes move within the smoke, silhouettes of people, laughing at kitchens, holding hands beneath street lamps, whispering secrets under blankets. You see some clearly, others only faintly, as if viewed through water. Yet you feel each one pressing upon your chest, not heavy, but insistent, reminding you of memory, of time, of promises. The child raises a finger and traces a slow circle in the air. The smoke parts, forming a subtle gateway. You step through. Warmth spreads immediately, filling lungs, climbing along your spine. The light shifts. Golden petals rise toward the arch's peak in slow spirals, floating upward like reversed snowfall. Each petal is warm, carrying the soft illumination of a morning that never fully came. The floor beneath you is smooth black stone, edges lined with thousands of candles, flickering in soft unison. The chamber is vast, cavernous, yet intimate. Every element seems to hum with quiet recognition. The child whispers again, "These are the promises." You glance around. Petals rise, as if they know which promises are kept, which are forgotten. Some ascend swiftly, light and free, while others descend, weighted, unyielding. You recognize some. They glow faintly, warm as your own pulse. Others remain dark, cold, impossible to lift. And within each, you feel the echoes of time, small, almost imperceptible threads linking memory and intention. Some promises keep growing, the child continues. They rise when remembered. Others weigh heavy. They drag. You glance down at the vertebra in your palm. It hums, warm, steady, like a heartbeat returning from long exile. You understand what it carries, not just memory, but choice. You walk slowly along the stone path, petals rising, smoke shifting, light bending around your figure. Each step releases faint echoes, whispers of the past, soft and tender. The arch seems to listen, breathing with the cadence of your body. Marking each footfall, the marigold smoke thickens as you approach the center. Within it, shapes grow clearer. A silhouette forms, vague at first, as if painted in water, then slowly sharpening. It is not a ghost, not a specter. It is a reflection of memory itself. The figure stands before you, shoulders, posture, presence, unmistakable. You recognize them, and yet recognition brings no fear, only weight lifting, ache softening, and the slow bloom of the warmth behind the ribs. They speak, soft, barely above a whisper, drowned partially by marigold haze. You said you would not disappear. Your throat tightens. The silence carries their words across space and time. You feel the vertebra pulse in your hand, the smoke twists around it, coiling, uncoiling, alive, tracing soft patterns in the air. The figure continues. I still look for you. When the world grows heavy, the chamber breathes with you. Petals lift, twisting, curling, illuminating the floor and walls. The vertebra grows hot, warming the palm of your hand, climbing the wrist, settling behind your sternum. The ache you have carried, the weight of absence, of promises unkept, of things left unsaid, shifts. It does not vanish. It softens, transforms, becomes a thread instead of a chain. The silhouette lifts a finger, tracing a small symbol in the air, a seed, tiny, radiant. It drifts toward you, settling behind your ribs. The smoke seems to recognize the gesture, curling upward, releasing golden motes that float lazily above. The figure fades slowly, dissolving into dust and light. Their voice, barely audible, echoes, remember without mourning, and become without apology. A soft hand rests on your arm. The child stands beside you, warmth radiating from their small frame. Their presence is steady, unwavering, grounding. You kept the promise, they whisper, even by returning. The vertebra pulses one last time, warm, steady. The candles flicker gently, guiding the path forward. The marigold smoke slowly recedes, drawing back into its braziers, leaving the chamber luminous, yet empty of distraction. The path ahead is clear, marked by candlelight and rising petals. Leading deeper into Micklin's heart, the child steps forward, cloak brushing softly against the stones, eyes reflecting the glow of the path. Come, the next chamber waits, and there, the bones speak. You follow, vertebra glowing in your palms, not heavy, not urgent, simply alive. Each step carries you forward into memory, promise, and the quiet, unwavering truth that you are no longer alone. The path narrows as you walk, petals soft beneath your feet, scattering in faint spirals behind you. Their glow fades more quickly now, as if reluctant to linger in the air. Overhead, the ceiling lowers, curving inward, like the ribs of some titanic animal. You duck instinctively and feel the ember-woven cloak brush the stone. It gives off a quiet warmth, a reminder that you are not alone. Even here, ahead, the air thickens into a dark amber haze. When you lift your hand, you can see motes of pale gold drifting like tiny embers suspended in syrup. They do not sting. They simply hover, waiting. The walls change as you step closer. Stone gives way to something more organic, long, twisting strands of dried marigold roots hanging in curtains from the ceiling. They sway gently, though there is no wind to move them. Their faint rustle sounds like distant whispers, the hush of voices in prayer. You pause, letting the hush settle around your shoulders. The silence behind your heartbeat stretches thin and delicate. When you breathe, the flavor of the air changes. There is the taste of earth, rich, full, old. The taste of something buried and unburied again. A memory you cannot quite name. Shafts of pale, greenish light rise from the floor like fog, illuminating slender arches of root that converge into a long hallway. It is not straight. It bends, curves, and doubles back into itself. But somewhere along its center, you see a faint glimmer of blue, a path, a direction. The vertebra token grows warm against your skin, as if responding to that glimmer. It pulses, once a quiet tap, like a knuckle gently touching the inside of your palm. You step forward. The curtain of roots brushes your shoulders with a dry sound, brittle but not sharp. Their surface is rough, textured with age. When you touch one gently, it bends slightly and hums with resonance, as though it carries sound within its fibers. Whispers drift out, soft, blurred syllables ripple through the hall. At first they seem random, broken scraps, scattered vowels, but then you hear faint words folding themselves into clarity. Waited, forgotten, name. The words are not frightening. They carry neither threat nor demand. They are tired, curious, searching. The ember cloak glows just slightly brighter, the orange threads stretching out like warm breath over shoulders chilled by memory. As you walk deeper, roots thicken along the walls, braiding into thick cords. Some run along the ceiling, looping into intricate patterns resembling knots or veins or constellations. They pulse faintly with gold, following your steps with a murmured rustle of motion. You reach a bend. The hallway widens into a chamber domed by arching root systems. Thick clusters hang down like chandeliers. A faint breeze travels through them, and in its wake, you hear dozens of voices, layered, slow, shifting tone and pitch, like a choir made of dust. Your footsteps feel softer than ever. The petals beneath you vanish into the earth as you pass. You realize something. Petals can wither here. Even glow can fade. A deeper whisper threads its way to your ear. Listen. That single word lands like an instruction. You stop. The vertebra token pulses twice. Your breath settles, and slowly, quietly, the room shifts. The roots begin to reveal shapes in their weave, faces pressed gently against the lattice of fibers. They are not alive. They are impressions, echoes, left behind like fingerprints in clay. Their expressions range from grief to peace, from longing to relief. Their eyes are empty but reflective, catching the glow of your cloak's faint ember light. They whisper again, "Remember us. Carry us. Do not run." A tremor runs through your throat. Your breath wants to fade, to shallow out, to quicken. But the ember cloak warms your chest. Your heartbeat steadies. You listen. The whispers soften, turning into hums. A lullaby you have almost heard before, but can't quite place. You take another step. The chamber's far end is draped with a dense curtain of roots, hanging from ceiling to floor. At first glance, it appears impenetrable. But when you raise the vertebra token, the roots nearest your hand draw back slightly, as if responding to its warmth. The token brightens, pulsing with pale fire. Behind the curtain, something glimmers, a thread of brilliant blue, winding its way downward into yet deeper levels. To reach it, you must pass through the roots. You step closer. The curtain undulates gently, as if breathing. Its strands sway apart in timed sequences, opening narrow slits of passage. They close just as fast, Move too slowly, and you will be wrapped in the marigold weave, embraced by its whispers. You listen again. The whispers shift to advice, spaced, slow, measured. Walk on the breath, follow the pulse, do not hesitate. You swallow gently and adjust your stance. You feel your feet root into the petals beneath you, pressing into the earth. You wait until the curtain opens just wide enough, then step forward. Roots brush your cheeks and shoulders like cool fingers. Some hum quietly, a few whisper fragments of memory, the garden you once tended, the quiet at the end of the street, the scent of rain. You blink, and suddenly you are 5 years younger, feeling raindrops on your nose in a quiet park. Then you are 10 years older, standing on a balcony, staring at a city that no longer knows your name. Then nothing. The curtain clears. You emerge into a narrow throat of stone, veined with roots that glow from within. The glow pulses like veins of gold under skin. As you continue forward, the air deepens in tone. It becomes resonant, the low hum of a drum far, far below. The sound flows up through your bones. You can feel it in the back of your teeth. The hallway widens into a clearing, a chamber whose floor is covered in shallow water. The surface is mirror still, reflecting the root canopy above. When your foot touches it, the water glows faintly around your step, forming rings of amber light. The reflections shift. In the mirrored surface, you see silhouettes, not clear shapes, but impressions of others who walked this hall before you. Some stand beside small flames. Some kneel, placing petals into water. Some hold vertebra tokens, notched with different shapes, sizes, and shades. The whispers hush. Silence folds over the chamber. From the far side, a small figure emerges, more felt than seen. The child guide. Their silhouette flickers like a candle in a crosswind, details blurred by the glowing haze. They do not speak. They lift a hand, palm facing you, and the water between you ripples in response. The vertebra token pulses in synchrony. You take a step onto the shimmering water. Your reflection dissolves, replaced by a vague outline that shifts with your breath. With each footfall, the whispering roots above you tremble softly, extending downwards like antennae. The child tilts their head slightly and motions to a small altar at the room's center. It rises from the water, shaped like a disc of obsidian, edged with marigold petals fused into the stone. On its surface rests a small depression, vertebra-sized. It is waiting. You stand before it, water glowing beneath your feet. The ember cloak flares at your shoulders, warming the air around you. The whispers begin again, this time softer, clearer, rising through the chamber like smoke. Lay down what you carried. Return what was never meant to burden. You choose what stays. The vertebra token in your palm grows warm, hot nearly, but not painful. As you raise it to the altar, its surface shifts. The smooth bone ridges bend, revealing faint carvings you had not noticed before. Tiny spirals, roots, petals. They map everything you have carried here. You set the token into the depression. The chamber ripples. Light trains from the water's surface, pulling inward toward the altar. The roots above thrash softly, not violently, but releasing tension with quiet sighs. The chamber exhales. Your mind fills with flashes, not memories exactly, but fragments of emotion, snatches of laughter, the weight of unspoken apologies, the ache of time passing without farewell. You are not overwhelmed. The ember cloak warms your chest, steadying you. The child's silhouette places a hand on your shoulder, light as a leaf. You breathe in, and the water around your feet brightens. Again, this time not amber, but white gold. It spreads up the roots, illuminating the faces pressed into their braidwork. Their eyes gleam, and their expressions shift. Relief, gratitude, release. The whispers soften into a single chorus. We remember because you do. The child guide nods at you once, the gesture subtle, almost shy. Then their silhouette dissolves into a swirl of petals that drift upward, joining the roots like tiny lanterns. You lift the vertebra token from the altar. Its carvings have changed. They are fewer now, cleaner, as though weight has been removed. It is lighter in your hand. A path opens at the far side of the chamber, roots unfurling into an archway, petals falling like warm snow. The hum beneath your feet deepens. You feel the pull of something below, toward the next layer of Mictlan. You walk forward, and as you pass beneath the arch, a final whisper trails behind you. Listen, and none are lost. The roots seal quietly shut behind you, their whispers settling into the stone like memories finally exhaled. The chamber falls silent, leaving only the soft scrape of your footsteps. You continue down the new path, vertebra, token warm in your hand, ember cloak casting a gentle glow. The petals beneath your feet brighten once again, renewed. Ahead, the descent continues. The marigold roots thin gradually as you walk, loosening like threads you've finally learned to untangle. Their soft glow fades into a new color, a pale silver, at first faint as moonlight on glass, then bright enough to draw shadow shapes across the path. The ember cloak, brushing behind you like a trailing fingertip, flickers in quiet response. Every footfall hums with residual warmth. Ahead, the tunnel opens into a chamber vast enough to swallow silence whole. A hollow column of stone climbs from floor to ceiling. Its surface bows and curves like a dancer's spine, its shape impossibly fluid, as though sculpted in motion. From cracks carved into its ribs, rivulets of shimmering water fall in delicate curtains. Each drop rings on the cavern's basin with a tone like the pluck of a crystal string. It is their sound that names this place, Sitlalmina, the weeping star spear. The air tastes different, subtle hints of crushed moonflower, damp mineral, faint copper, all scents that pull half memory toward the surface but ask no permission. You swallow instinctively. The child appears again, not quite beside you, not quite separate from the falling light. Their outline shimmers like a candle seen through tears. Their eyes remain the color of distant lantern flame. You've brought so much, the child says softly. Their voice echoes once, then twice, as though the words do not want to leave the stone. But not everything you carry belongs to you. You feel it then, weight in your shoulders, weight in your ribs, weight in your pulse, not physical heaviness, emotional gravity. The vertebra token in your palm grows warm, then warmer still, as though trying to draw that weight outward. The child raises a hand, inviting you forward. Stand within the fall. Marigold petals drift down from the cavern's unseen heights, catching in the water and swirling away toward channels in the floor. You step toward the central column, closing your eyes as the streams run over your face and hair. It is not cold. It is the precise temperature of a sigh. The water's whispers changes. Now each droplet carries a voice. I'm sorry. I should have helped you. Why weren't you enough? Why weren't you louder? Why didn't you fix it? They are not your words. They are words you believed were yours to bear. Your throat tightens. You open your mouth to speak, but the water hushes gently around your lips, and the whispering resumes. Not oppressive, not cruel, but curious, like fingers brushing dust from a shelf. You took on the grief of others. The child murmurs from the far side of the waterfall. You held it inside your ribs because you thought it helped. But those sorrows were not shaped for you. Your heart thrums once, too heavy. An echo of someone else's sorrow twinges behind your breastbone. A memory begins to climb upward, clawing, begging, a night of whisper-shouted arguments that weren't yours to solve. A door slammed in the dark because someone else was afraid. A friendship's quiet collapse that left you feeling responsible for storms you did not cause. The vertebra token glows bright enough to cast faint shadows on your fingers. The water around your chest suddenly feels heavier, denser. It presses in with the weight of swallowed apologies. You inhale slowly. It takes effort. You can let it go, the child says, but you must choose what to release. You lift the vertebra token to your lips, and for a moment, you feel the vibration of unspoken truth. The token's ridges flicker with script, tiny glyphs that braid and unbraid with thought. You cannot decipher them, but their meaning thrums somewhere deep. You speak, I'm sorry, for believing it was mine. The chamber responds instantly. The falling water dims, then brightens, as if struck by unseen lightning. A thin thread of silver luminescence rises from the basin and coils gently around your wrist. It draws one invisible burden from your ribs and carries it outward, dissolving into mist. You feel lighter. A breath escapes you, not an exhale, an unburdening. Another voice drips from the falls. You should have stopped it. Your chest tightens again. The vertebra token pulses reddish gold, like bone warmed in coals. You hold it to your sternum. I forgive myself for what wasn't mine to control. Another tether lifts away. It is smaller this time, more stubborn. But once unhooked, it dissolves beautifully. Your knees shake. The child watches silently, hands folded behind their back. There is one more, they say. The water hushes. Your pulse murmurs. You already know which voice will rise. It arrives softly, barely more than breath. You could have saved them if you were better. The words spread through your chest like ink and cloth, finding every old thread you stitched with guilt. They are familiar, too familiar. You whisper to the vertebra token, I was enough, even then. A tether thicker than the others, tears free violently, leaving your lungs cold for half a heartbeat before warmth rushes in to fill the space. The water's whisper softens into applause, 1,000 droplets striking stone like tiny hands clapping gently. You step back from the fall, wet but not dripping. Somehow the water has evaporated cleanly from your ember cloak without smoke. Good, the child says. Now the room will speak. The column cracks. Silver light pours from its seams like starlight made molten. The chamber walls rearrange themselves with slow, seismic grace. Pathways open where none existed. Stone bleeds inward, revealing ancient murals, spirals of marigold petals leading downward, skeleton kings with hummingbird skulls, eyes weeping smoke instead of tears. Each image pulses rhythmically, like a heartbeat pushing glowing sap through roots. You walk toward the murals, studying them. A pattern emerges, not one of punishment, but transformation. Mictlan is not a descent to be endured, but a shedding. The vertebra token dims, as though satisfied. Behind you, the child speaks again. You're beginning to understand. The journey does not take from you. It lifts what should never have been set upon your shoulders. You ask quietly, then why did I take those weights? The child shrugs with a small, sorrowing smile. Because you were kind, and because no one taught you how to carry only what is yours. You exhale slowly, letting that truth settle. The murals brighten simultaneously, casting coral and amber onto the cavern floor. One path glows warmer than the rest. Petals accumulate there, drifting as though guided by unseen breath. The child nods toward it. This way. The next chamber waits for those who've unhooked the false. Before leaving, you look once more at the column. Its tears slow, then stop. Dry, the stone looks peaceful, like someone finally asleep after decades of restless dreaming. As you pass, water clings to the vertebra token, forming tiny droplets that refract warm light. They evaporate instantly, leaving the bone polished. The path curves downward in a gentle spiral. The walls pulse terracotta red, like clay warmed by afternoon sun. Marigold seeds embedded in the surface sprout tiny sparks of light. You ask softly, and if someone refuses to release their borrowed weight, the child pauses. The road grows steeper. The rooms become echoes. They walk in circles carved from their own denial. And Mictlan has endless patience. You shiver, not from fear, but recognition. You continue downward. Your steps grow quieter. Your breath mellows. Somewhere deep, your ribs feel hollowed in a gentle, relieving way, emptied of what never belonged. The air gradually warms, scents shifting from moonflower to copal resin. Smoke curls lazily along the floor, each wisp shaped like a small heart. Before dissolving, the child's voice drifts behind you, clear as chimes. Not all burdens are yours. For the rest, you learn to let go. The spiral ends at a low archway of stone ribs. Marigold petals swirl there, forming a slow vortex of gold and orange. They hum faintly, a lullaby sung by roots. You step through. As you do, your ember cloak grows brighter, and the vertebra token vibrates once, attuned. A new chamber opens before you, vast and red-lit. bones ribbing the ceiling like cathedral arches. But that is for next time. For now, the petals settle quietly around your feet and the child vanishes as though stepping into a long, patient breath. You stand alone, lighter than you arrived. The arch of stone ribs gives way to a corridor steeped in a low, smoky haze. It moves, like breath exhaled from ancient lungs, drifting in slow tides around your ankles. Your ember cloak glows warmer, shielding your skin from the gentle burn of the air. Faint, muffled sound thrums ahead. Not wind, not water. It is the sound of embers sighing into powder. The corridor opens into a room wider than any you've seen. The ceiling disappears into smoke-dark heights, and the floor is carpeted ankle-deep in soft gray ash. Each step you take leaves a hollow footprint that glows briefly, ember hot, before fading back into cool gray. You lower your gaze. The ash is speckled with bright flecks, orange motes, like tiny marigold seeds. Their glow stutters, trying to pulse. Your vertebra token warms in sympathy, like bone remembering fire. The air smells faintly of burned copal, dry rosemary, and something older, the dust of regrets, left too close to the heart for too long. The arch of stone ribs gives way to a corridor steeped in a low, smoky haze. It moves, like breath exhaled from ancient lungs, drifting in slow tides around your ankles. Your ember cloak glows warmer, shielding your skin from the gentle burn of the air. A faint, muffled sound thrums ahead. Not wind, not water. It is the sound of embers sighing into powder. The corridor opens into a room wider than any you've seen. The ceiling disappears into smoke-dark heights, and the floor is carpeted ankle-deep in soft gray ash. Each step you take leaves a hollow footprint that glows briefly, ember hot, before fading back into cool gray. You lower your gaze. The ash is speckled with bright flecks, orange motes, like tiny marigold seeds. Their glow stutters, trying to pulse. Your vertebra token warms in sympathy, like bone remembering fire. The air smells faintly of burned copal, dry rosemary, and something older, the dust of regrets, left too close to the heart for too long. At the chamber's center stands a low stone dais, circular, carved with glyphs. Atop it, wrapped in soot-dark cloth, sits a small urn. Its ceramic surface is cracked, but not broken. Embers glow through the fractures, pulsing like a heartbeat. You step closer. The ash shifts beneath your feet, whispering quietly. Not words, not voices, just the murmur of memory turning itself over, again and again, seeking a softer shape. A rustle behind you. The child appears, though dimmer now, as if preserved by thinning time. Their outline flickers. Light passes through them in places where it shouldn't. You have come to the room of what you burned, they say. You blink. Burned? The child nods, motioning toward the urn. Not everything we set to flame disappears. Some things leave behind ash, quiet reminders of choices you regret, paths you mourned, the person you feared you could have become. You feel a pull in your chest. The vertebra token glows gently, illuminating your fingers. What's inside? You ask. A question you were never brave enough to ask. The child whispers, a truth you never allowed yourself to speak, a name that still lives behind your tongue. The ember cloak flutters in a wind you do not feel. Lift the cloth, the child says. You reach out slowly, your fingers tremble. Not fear exactly, anticipation. You lift the soot-dark cloth. The urn breathes. A slow, smoldering exhale curls from its mouth, carrying with it the scent of something familiar. Paper letters you never sent, words you swallowed to keep peace, wishes you refused because they felt selfish. Inside the urn, tiny embers swirl, lighting fragments of what once was. A conversation you ended too early, a promise you didn't keep, not out of malice, but exhaustion, a goodbye you never said. Your throat constricts. The ember swirl shapes itself into an image, flickering, unstable. Two figures standing beneath dried marigold garlands. Voices raised, the air thick with misunderstanding. One figure turns away too soon. That was you. You breathe out shakily. The ash around your feet swirls, warm and forgiving. The child circles you slowly. Do you regret what you did, or what you could not bear to do? I don't know. You whisper, then ask. The chamber darkens, except for the glowing fragments inside the urn. The vertebra token vibrates once, deep, like a drum in bone. You lean over the urn and speak quietly. Show me what I couldn't see then. Embers rise. They form a vision of tired shoulders, a shaking breath, eyes that couldn't hold more weight. Your own voice, frayed and exhausted. You see the moment differently now. You weren't abandoning. You were surviving. The image dissolves into ashfall. Your knees buckle lightly. The child steadies you with a hand of candle-warm light. You are cruelest to yourself in hindsight, they whisper. You punish past versions for not knowing what you know now. The ash at your feet stirs, rising in a slow spiral. Within its movement, shapes emerge, spectral silhouettes representing the versions of you who carried burdens too heavy to name. They are small, tired, still trying. The chamber hums, a tone so low it vibrates in your bones. These selves are not failures, the child says. They are survivors. The silhouettes bow their heads, ash drifting from their shoulders like departing birds. They dissolve into embers, then into warmth that settles in your chest. You exhale deeply. The urn brightens, cracks widen, releasing a soft, orange glow. Touch it, the child says. You place your hands on the warm ceramic. Light spills between your fingers. Within it, you hear a murmured question. If you could go back, would you change it? You swallow. You consider. You breathe. And you answer, no. I would only be kinder to the person I was. The chamber reacts gently. The ash brightens, turning gold at the edges. It lifts in a soft spiral, brushing your shoulders like comforting hands. The urn melts down into glowing powder. The powder curls upward, joining the ash, leaving only a small core, white and smooth as polished bone. You pick it up. It is another vertebra, slightly larger than your token. When you hold them together, they click softly, magnetically, as though meant to complete one another. The glyphs along their ridges align, forming a single phrase you can suddenly read. You survived what was never meant for you to carry. Your eyes burn, but no tears fall. They settle inward instead, watering soil that needed softening. The child smiles faintly. Now you see, ash is not the end of fire. It is what remains after you've burned away everything that was hurting you. Their outline flickers again, thinning. You're fading, you whisper. As you grow, I diminish, they reply. Guides are not forever. They exist only as long as you need to remember you're not alone. You look down. The ash has thinned to a light dusting around your boots. The chamber feels warmer, softer, less like a tomb, and more like a hearth that has finally cooled. A passage opens behind the dais, carved from bone and clay. Marigold petals drift through its arch like slow-falling stars. Go, the child says, softly. Your next trial waits in rooms that listen rather than speak. You glance back once. The child lifts a hand, small, luminous, solemn. You will not be asked to burn again, they say, only to breathe. You nod, hand tightening around the smooth vertebra. The ember cloak flares briefly, as though agreeing. Then you step through the archway. Petals rise around you. Ash settles behind you, and somewhere in the dark, a new chamber inhales, waiting. The passage narrows at first. Bone and clay form low arches overhead, each rib etched with swirling glyphs resembling wind tunnels. As you walk, your ember cloak brushes them lightly, leaving soft orange embers drifting in your wake. The vertebra, tokens in your palm, warm like stones, held close to a hearth. The air thickens, not choking, but dense, as though you're wading through slow water. Your breaths lengthen without effort. The marigold petals tumbling around your ankles rise and fall in gentle currents. The corridor turns once, twice, then opens into a cavernous chamber. At first, you think the walls are alive. They move in slow ripples, expanding and contracting like lungs. The clay surface glistens under faint blue light. Embedded within it are countless impressions, hands pressed deep, sweeping marks like brushes pulled through wet earth, and fingerprints that trail off into smudged uncertainty. The scent is rich and grounding, sun-warmed earth, copal smoke, lingering in hair, the echo of pottery baked too long in a kiln. Your bones remember that smell. The floor is smooth clay, cool beneath your soles. It rises and falls in subtle undulations, like the ocean caught mid-tide. Every shift you make leaves a mild impression, a heel, the edge of a toe, a crease. From above, streams of dust fall like shimmering veils, settling onto the clay. When the dust touches, tiny ripples radiate outward, forming patterns like breath in winter air. At the chamber's center stands a massive figure sculpted entirely from wet clay, not quite human. Its limbs are elongated, torso hollowed, ribs ridged, as if molded by hands that didn't understand anatomy, but were desperate to shape something recognizable. Its head is a smooth oval, uncarved, faceless. As you step closer, the hollow chest rises and falls. It is breathing. Your spine prickles, not fear, recognition. The child appears at your side, half lit, smaller now. Their outline flickers in clay-brown hues. Their outline shimmers, thinner than before. Guides fade as travelers strengthen. They whisper, I exist only as long as you need to remember you are not alone. They speak quietly. This is the shape others wanted you to be. Your pulse stutters. You take in the hollow chest again, the way its edges fold inward where hands pressed too hard. The faceless head bows slightly forward, heavy with expectation. When you were small, the child continues, hands reached for you. They guided, molded, sometimes forced. They told you, be quiet here, softer there, stronger now, smaller then. As they speak, the clay figure's ribs pulse with memory. Clay reshapes. One clavicle sharpens, rigid with old obligations. A shoulder droops beneath invisible weight. The vertebra tokens hum, a sympathetic vibration, the sound of bones remembering pressure. You step closer. The clay figure's faceless head tilts toward you, sensing the heat of your ember cloak. What do I do? You ask. The child points to a low stone platform arranged with tools, spatulas carved from obsidian, brushes of woven root, a small implement shaped like a hummingbird's beak, and your hands. Choose how you wish to shape yourself. The child says. You approach the tools. Your fingers hover, but instinct pulls them back. Instead, you place your palm gently on the clay figure's chest. It shivers beneath your touch. The clay in that area loosens and falls outward, revealing impressions pressed deep, old demands etched into you like grooves. Be responsible for everyone's feelings. Never disappoint. Hide the anger. Be useful or be silent. The words crumble into dust when exposed to air. The figure's hollow chest expands slightly. Good, the child whispers. You breathe in slowly. The clay walls around the chamber flutter in subtle waves. Breathing with you, you raise both hands and press them gently against the clay figure's shoulders. Warmth passes between you. Memories surface. Those who praised you only when you matched their idea of good. Those who scolded when you deviated. Those who called you selfish when you tried to grow. You press your thumbs gently, and each mark dissolves under your touch. Clay sloughs off in sheets, pooling around your feet like shed skin. The figure straightens slightly, its hollow posture easing, but then the figure's hands rise, trembling. They slam onto their own chest with sudden force, reshaping themselves haphazardly in patterns that look familiar, taking more blame than needed, shrinking to fit others, smiling when you hurt. I didn't choose that, you whisper. But you repeated the mold, the child says gently. We all do, until we wake. The clay figure continues shaping itself into old habits, not maliciously, not angrily, simply because it is what it has known. You step forward, placing the vertebra tokens against its ribcage. Light flares through the clay. Glyphs shift. Old grooves fill in. Breath steadies. You know what to do now. Not destroy, not erase. Reclaim. Your fingers shape supportive curves into the clay shoulders. You widen the chest. Space to breathe. You soften the rib angles. Permission to rest. You smooth the sternum. Release of vigilance. The clay becomes warmer beneath your hands. Pliable. Grateful. The figure exhales. A low resonant sound. Its faceless head tilts again. uncertain, waiting. Give it a face. The child says, not theirs, yours. Your throat tightens. Will it look like me? It will look like how you see yourself. That is enough. You use your fingertips first. You shape gentle cheekbones, not sharp with self-criticism. You soften the brow, not furrowed with anxiety. You round the chin, not rigid with stubborn survival. Then, with the hummingbird tool, you trace a small smile. It is subtle, like the moment before laughter, not forced. You touch where eyes should be. The clay warms and opens, revealing lights within. Amber glows, like marigold petals against dusk. The clay figure breathes again, deeper now, grounding itself in its new form. My name, you whisper, unsure why the urge rises. The child nods. Speak it. You say your true name, not the one forced, not the one used when convenient, not the one you hid. The chamber stills. Clay ripples outward from the figure's feet, flattening old footprints, smoothing over paths you walked only because others told you to. Above, dust spirals downward in a soft gold shower, coating the figure's face. It blinks, then opens eyes full of orange warmth. It steps forward, its clay body cracks along lines of growth, not damage. This is you, the child whispers, the version that never begged permission. The figure raises a hand. You lift yours. Clay and bone meet. Warmth floods up your arm, into your ribs, into your vertebra tokens. Glyphs etch themselves brighter. I am not clay shaped by others. I am earth shaping itself. The clay figure bows once, solemn, grateful. Then it steps back. Cracks deepening, light spills from those cracks. Soft gold, soft white, until the form dissolves into a circle of clean, warm earth at your feet. You kneel and collect a small lump of that earth. It feels alive, soft, warm, pliant. The child smiles. Carry it. It will remind you that you can reshape what you were given. As you stand, the walls of the chamber begin to peel away. Clay ripples outward, revealing a corridor bathed in ember-lit darkness. Marigold petals swirl through it, drifting like quiet wishes. You hesitate. What happens if someone never learns to reshape themselves? You ask. The child's smile fades, gently. They become statues of expectation. They forget they can move. You shiver, not from fear, but empathy. The child gestures to the corridor. Walk. The next chamber is listening. As you turn, you notice the child's outline has thinned even more, barely a silhouette now, flickering like a candle behind silk. Will you fade completely? You ask softly. When you no longer seek permission to become, they reply. You nod. You adjust your ember cloak. The vertebra tokens click softly, aligning perfectly. The clay lump rests warm against your palm, shaping slightly as your fingers curl. You walk. The chamber exhales behind you. Clay settles. Breathing slows. Ahead, the air cools, carrying whispers of sound. Soft, hushed, rhythmic. The corridor widens into a doorway shaped like an ear carved from obsidian, its lobe draped in petals. You step through. The ground becomes soft. The dark becomes kind. And somewhere deep ahead, The next trial waits, not to be spoken, but heard. The corridor stretches before you, narrower now, formed from the dense black rock of the underworld. Its walls hum faintly, not with wind or water, but with a subtle vibration that brushes the bones beneath your skin. Your ember cloak glows dimly, warming the cold stones as your feet press against the earthen floor, soft from accumulated dust and marigold petals. The lump of living clay you carry pulses softly in your palm, a heartbeat echoing your own. Above, faint glyphs flicker into view, carved into stone, in spirals resembling concentric sound waves. Each symbol seems to thrum as you approach, almost as if the chamber itself is tuning to your presence. You remember the child's words from the hall of breathing clay. The next chamber is listening. The passage opens into a wide cavern, circular, walls rising like the sides of a caldera. At the center rests a monolithic stone, rounded and smooth, standing taller than you, yet softly contoured, almost as if shaped by patient hands rather than hammer or chisel. Its surface shimmers subtly with shifting patterns of shadow and light, giving the impression it can read the very air around it. As you approach, the vibrations intensify, but they are no longer external. They resonate from inside you. A quiet hum settles into your chest, and the two vertebra tokens click softly together in your palm, the beginning of a quiet chain. Lessons strung along a growing spine of courage. The stone does not speak, yet you feel it inviting attention, patience, awareness. The child appears beside you, more ephemeral than ever, their outline flickering like candlelight in wind. This stone hears, they whisper. It knows the truth of what is said. It separates voices meant for your guidance from those that would mislead, confuse, or bind you. You nod, unsure how one stone could do such a thing. But you feel the warmth of understanding spread from the clay in your palm, through your fingers, into your bones. You kneel before the stone. Its surface pulses faintly, vibrating to your breath. Closing your eyes, you focus on the voices carried from the hall of breathing clay. The expectations, the pressures, the echoes of those who tried to shape you. At first, the chamber seems overwhelming. Whispered voices drift around you, some familiar, some distant, others you don't recognize at all. Do not speak, do not reach, do not claim. You must please, you must follow, you must not fail. Be quiet, be small, be useful. The stone absorbs them all without judgment. As you lay your palm upon its cool surface, you feel a resonance, not of command, but of reflection. Each voice stretches, expands, and then contracts into clarity. The stone hums, and now some voices fade into soft silence. Others remain, but with distinction. You realize which ones carry guidance, love, or truth, and which were heavy chains, expectations, or fear. You whisper to the stone, tentatively, which voices are mine to hear? The hum responds in warmth, spreading like sunlight through your chest. Each vibration aligns with a memory, moments when you listened and were nourished, moments when you were ignored and lost, moments when you imposed expectations upon yourself, unaware of their origin. The child kneels beside you, pointing to the stone's surface, shadows, ripple across it, forming faint images: a hand offering bread, a friend holding yours in the dark, a teacher nodding quietly, a voice shouting criticism. These are all true, they say, but not all are meant for you. Listen carefully. You press your ear against the stone. Its surface is smooth, yet warm. Sounds arrive gently, layered like petals floating on water. You hear the laughter of those who celebrated your being, the encouragement of those who guided, the whispers of love from those long gone, and then faint, distant echoes of fear, judgment, expectation. They swirl around your mind like autumn leaves and wind. They are recognizable, but their edges are softer here. The stone does not silence them, it simply holds them, giving space for discernment. Your breath deepens. Each inhale draws clarity. Each exhale releases tension. The clay in your palm vibrates in rhythm with the stone, anchoring you in the truth that you can choose which voices to carry and which to leave behind. Tentatively, you speak aloud. I will carry the voices that teach me. I will release those that bind me. The stone responds with a gentle, reverberating pulse, warm against your chest. You feel each vertebra token click into place as if marking a chain broken. A burden eased. Marigold petals drift from the cavern ceiling, settling in swirls around your knees, their color bright against the stone floor. Time stretches, measured only by the slow rhythm of your breath and the quiet heartbeat of the chamber. You remain kneeling, listening, until a profound sense of clarity arises. The whispers of expectation and fear are still present, but they no longer hold power over your motion or choice. The child smiles, their form almost transparent now. Truth is not always loud. Some must be heard in silence. Others must be felt in stillness. You rise slowly. The stone stands before you, unchanging, eternal, yet alive in its quiet power. You place a hand against it one last time. The warmth spreads into your arm, through your chest, and into the clay lump in your palm. It pulses once, like a heartbeat acknowledging your comprehension. Behind the stone, a corridor emerges, carved from the same obsidian and veined with soft gold light. Marigold petals drift along its edges, stirred by some unseen wind. You step forward, carrying the clay and vertebra tokens, now tempered by listening and discernment. The chamber exhales a final sigh behind you, the walls settling into silence. You know the voices that accompany you are your own to guide, and those that fade are free to dissolve into memory. The child's voice follows you softly, fading. Walk carefully. The next trial does not speak. It watches. Ahead, the corridor narrows again, shrouded in shadows that stretch like outstretched fingers. You adjust your ember cloak, feel the clay and vertebra tokens warm in your hands, and step into the darkness with measured breath. Somewhere far above, the faint hum of the world persists, a reminder that listening requires patience, and that even in silence, truth can be known. The corridor narrows, the gold-veined obsidian walls pressing in with quiet insistence. Marigold petals drift in delicate swirls around your ankles, their edges tinged with faint ember light from your cloak. Each step carries a whisper of anticipation, a memory of the listening stone's gentle hum vibrating in your chest. The vertebra tokens click faintly against each other, a reminder of the choices you now carry, voices you have sorted, burdens you have released. The hallway opens into a vast chamber, larger than any you have encountered, shaped like a crescent moon set upon its edge. Shadows pool in corners, yet the chamber glows with an inner light, soft and shifting. Across the floor, hundreds of standing mirrors rise like sentinels, their surfaces deep and black when viewed at a distance, reflecting nothing at first, but as you step closer, shapes begin to emerge. Your shape, fractured, multiplied, shifting with every movement. The child guide appears again, hovering lightly at your side, flickering like a flame. These mirrors do not lie, they whisper. Some show what you were, some what you feared, others what you might become. You must walk through them step by step and face each reflection without fleeing. You inhale, steadying yourself. The first mirror looms before you, taller than you, framed in obsidian streaked with gold. As you approach, your reflection emerges, not exactly you, but a version distorted by past regrets and unspoken doubts. Your eyes are wide, lined with shadows of sleepless nights. Your hands tremble slightly, carrying weight unseen in the real world. A soft whisper rises from the mirror itself. Do you remember your failures? Your moments of weakness? They define you. Your breath catches. The voice is familiar. The echo of your own fears, magnified and shaped by the chamber. You grip the clay in your hand and the vertebra tokens, grounding yourself. No, you whisper to the reflection. They inform me, but they do not bind me. The mirror ripples, and the shadowed version of you dissolves into mist, leaving only your true form behind. A marigold petal drifts past, settling on the mirror's surface, marking the moment of recognition. Step by step, you move deeper into the chamber. Each mirror presents a different image. One shows you as a child, lost in a river of whispers, reaching for a hand that was never there. Another reflects an older self, stooped with worry, eyes clouded with unspoken grief. Yet another shows you transformed, strong, luminous, yet fragile in the places fear once resided. The chamber hums with the sound of countless whispered voices, memories both tender and painful. But unlike the Hall of Listening Stone, these whispers are not meant to guide, they are meant to teach. They are tests of presence, courage, and clarity. In the center of the chamber stands a massive mirror, the largest yet, stretching from floor to ceiling, framed in coiled obsidian that seems almost alive. You approach slowly, sensing the weight of all previous reflections converging here. Your shadow stretches across its surface, blending with echoes of the past. The child's voice is quiet now, a soft wind in your ear. This mirror shows the whole of you, the light, the shadow, the voice that endures. You must acknowledge all, not just what is easy to accept. You place a hand against the glass. It is cool, almost liquid in texture, rippling beneath your touch. Memories surge, moments of fear times of betrayal, fleeting glimpses of joy you tried to forget. You feel the pulse of the clay in your hand resonate with the mirror, as if anchoring you in the present. A whisper rises from the glass, your own voice magnified. Who are you, if not the sum of all these pieces? You close your eyes. Slowly, deliberately, you name each part aloud. The fearful, the brave, the joyful, the sorrowful, the lost, the found, the silent, the speaking. As each voice is spoken, the mirror calms, the ripples fading into a still surface. The reflections merge into a single, coherent image. You, whole, aware, and balanced. Not perfect, not free of shadow, but integrated, steady, capable. The child steps forward, touching the mirror lightly. The glass shimmers, and a doorway appears within it, as if the chamber itself acknowledges your progress. Marigold petals drift toward the opening, forming a gentle path forward. You have seen yourself. The child whispers, now you must walk forward, carry what is true, release what is not, and trust that the underworld holds only what you are ready to meet. You step through the mirrored doorway, feeling the warmth of your ember cloak, the pulse of the clay, the weight of the vertebra tokens grounding you. Behind, the chamber hums softly, a low vibration that lingers in your chest, a reminder that reflection is never an end, only a guide. The corridor beyond stretches forward, walls veined with gold and shadow, marigold petals carpeting the floor. The air smells faintly of copal and warm stone, a gentle reminder that Mictlan is alive, patient, and eternal. You walk forward with measured breath, carrying the clarity of self, ready for what comes next. The corridor bends sharply, and a subtle vibration begins to rise beneath your feet, almost imperceptible at first. The marigold petals you have followed twist and flutter as though caught in an unseen wind. The air grows dense with the scent of warm earth and copal smoke, tinged with something older, something eternal. Each inhalation carries the weight of moments past and yet to come, and you feel the pulse of the vertebra tokens thrumming against your chest, as if marking time itself. Ahead, the walls open into a circular chamber, domed like the sky at dusk. Across the floor, a mosaic of obsidian tiles shifts and pulses with soft golden light, tracing paths that seem to appear and dissolve before your eyes. At first glance, the space appears empty, but closer inspection reveals countless faces and hands, frozen mid-motion, trapped in echoes of memory. Each figure flickers, alive for a moment, and then vanishing, like shadows in water. The child guide is there, hovering gently at your side, barely more than a shimmer of light. This chamber holds the echoes of time, they whisper. The past, the present, the possibilities that have yet to arrive. You must walk carefully. One misstep, and you may lose your way in moments not your own. The child's form is nearly translucent now, their edges drifting like candle smoke. Strength, it seems, asks for fewer guides. You step forward, feeling the floor pulse beneath your feet. Each step reverberates with the faint sound of countless voices, laughter, sighs, cries, and whispers of decisions made and unmade. You realize that the chamber does not merely reflect your memory, it interacts with it, a choice you made yesterday or centuries ago echoes beneath the shifting tiles, intersecting with choices yet to come. A ripple moves across the floor, revealing a figure standing just ahead. Yourself, younger, standing at the edge of a path you once feared to take. The image is vivid, heart-wrenching in its detail. The child guide whispers, "Remember, this is not judgment, it is recognition. See it, acknowledge it, and move forward." You inhale deeply, feeling the pulse of the clay in your hand sync with the rhythm of the floor. "I see you," you murmur, "and I understand. That choice shaped me, but it does not define the whole of me." The figure smiles faintly, then dissolves like mist, leaving only a glowing tile behind. As you step onto it, a wave of warmth courses through your body, and you feel the threads of past decisions weaving into a coherent pattern. Deeper into the chamber, the echoes intensify. Multiple versions of yourself appear, each suspended in a moment of hesitation or courage, fear or hope. One holds the ember cloak, another clutches the vertebra tokens tightly. One kneels in grief, yet another stands resolute. They all watch, you silently, waiting for acknowledgement. You pause, letting the hum of the chamber resonate in your chest. The child guide's voice is soft but insistent. Temporal echoes are not obstacles, they are teachers. Each reflection carries a lesson. Listen, learn, integrate, and step forward. The first reflection approaches, transparent but distinct, a younger you standing at the crossroads of choice and consequence. You reach out, feeling the faint warmth of their hand against yours, though no contact is physically possible. "I honor you," you whisper. "Your fear, your courage, your path is mine to understand." The reflection bows and dissipates, leaving behind a ripple in the floor that pulses like a heartbeat. Another appears, a future self, luminous and strong, gazing toward a path not yet taken. "I see you," you say, acknowledging hope and possibility. "I carry your guidance." Step by step, you move through the chamber, each echo acknowledged, each lesson absorbed. The air thickens, golden light shifting to deep amber, tracing the invisible spiral of past, present, and potential. You sense the clay in your hand growing warmer, pulsing with each acknowledgement, and the vertebra tokens vibrate in resonance with the chamber's rhythm. A low hum rises, the chorus of countless moments converging into a single harmonious tone. The walls of the chamber shimmer, revealing a staircase carved of obsidian and gold, spiraling upward toward a light that seems both near and impossibly distant. Marigold petals drift along the spiral, forming a luminous path. The child guide hovers at the base, voice gentle. You have seen the echoes. You have acknowledged them. Now, ascend. Carry the clarity of time with you, understanding that every moment, past, present, and future, is part of the whole you must embrace. With a steadying breath, you step onto the staircase. Each rise feels like stepping through moments themselves, a childhood fear, a triumph in adulthood, a quiet promise to the self you have not yet become. The air vibrates with the memory of choices and the possibility of transformation, and you sense the underworld itself guiding your ascent. At the top, the chamber opens into a balcony of obsidian overlooking a vast, glowing expanse. The echoes fade into silence, replaced by a gentle, omnipresent hum. The marigold petals drift toward a doorway carved with intricate patterns of bone and smoke. The entrance to the next trial, the child guide fades into the glow, whispering one final instruction. Time is never lost. It shapes, guides, and teaches. Carry its lessons with courage, and Mictlan will reveal its heart. You step forward, the pulse of the clay and the vertebra tokens steady, your ember cloak warm around your shoulders. The path continues, and you walk with the weight and clarity of temporal understanding, ready to face the next chamber in the underworld's infinite embrace. The doorway before you hums with quiet anticipation. As you step through, the air grows cooler, tinged with the scent of dry earth and distant fire. The walls are formed from a lattice of bones, not grotesque, but reverent, polished and intertwined like a living sculpture. Each femur, rib, and vertebra is etched with delicate glyphs, shimmering faintly under a light that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. The chamber stretches wider than the eye can see, a vaulted hall lined with towering columns of stacked bones, and the floor pulses softly beneath your feet. Marigold petals swirl in gentle eddies, tracing invisible currents of energy, guiding you forward. Somewhere in the distance, the faintest echo of a drumbeat resonates, a heartbeat that is both yours and that of those who have walked before. The child guide appears, hovering like a wisp of light at your side. Here lie the bones of those who came before, the ancestors who shaped the paths you now walk. Listen carefully. Each carries a memory, a lesson, a whisper of wisdom. You must attune yourself, for the echoes of their lives will guide the steps of your journey. As you move deeper, the chamber seems alive with subtle vibrations. When you touch a rib, it hums with the faint resonance of a laughter long past. A femur thrums with the deep weight of courage in a forgotten decision. Even the vertebra tokens you clutch respond, vibrating in harmonic counterpoint to the ancestral pulse. Ahead, a low archway opens into a smaller alcove, and there you see a figure seated in meditation, a shadowed silhouette composed entirely of the golden light of marigold petals. Their hands rest on a pile of vertebra tokens, which glow with increasing warmth as you approach. The child guide whispers, "This is the keeper of resonance." They embody the connection between the living and the dead, the thread that links your present to every memory that has ever shaped you. The keeper's voice is soft, yet it echoes through the chamber in a chorus of whispers. You carry the living and the departed within you. To pass through, you must honor them, learn from them, and allow their guidance to resonate within your own heart. Kneeling, you place the vertebra tokens on a flat stone at the keeper's feet. Immediately, the chamber comes alive. Bones hum in symphony, voices whispering in languages both familiar and forgotten. Faces of ancestors shimmer in the walls, each one reflecting fragments of stories you have never lived yet somehow understand, you realize that these echoes are not ghosts. They are the memory of choices, struggles, and joys woven into the very fabric of Mictlan. The first voice speaks, a gentle, comforting murmur of encouragement from a parent, a grandparent, a teacher long gone. You are never alone, it says. Every path you walk has been walked before, and the courage you carry is their legacy. Another whispers of caution. Remember the weight of your choices. Each ripple affects those who follow. Walk with care and honor the lives intertwined with yours. You close your eyes, allowing the murmurs to envelop you. The hum of the bones resonates through your chest, merging with the pulse of the clay and vertebra tokens in your hands. Each note becomes a thread, weaving the past into your present. A wave of understanding washes over you. The ember cloak on your shoulders feels heavier, yet warmer, a symbol of protection and continuity, carrying not just your journey, but the resonance of countless others. A passage opens ahead, lined with even more intricate bone sculptures. You notice that the carvings depict trials and lessons, courage in the face of despair, the fragility of life, the strength of forgiveness, the unbroken circle of familial and communal bonds. Each step you take reverberates with the memory of those who once faced the darkness you now navigate. The chamber challenges you to interact, not just observe. A rib archway tilts toward you, and you feel compelled to step through, only to find yourself in a mirror-like space reflecting multiple versions of yourself alongside ancestral figures. Each figure, your younger self, your future self, and distant ancestors, performs gestures of guidance, offering silent lessons in harmony, resilience, and understanding. You reach out instinctively, and as your hand passes through the reflection, warmth spreads from your heart outward, as if connecting you to an infinite chain of lives. The child guide whispers again, to carry Mictlan's wisdom, you must integrate the echoes, honor them, remember them, and let them strengthen your resolve. The chamber of resonant bones is not a place of fear, it is a crucible of identity. You bow your head, acknowledging every whisper, every vibration. Slowly, you stand taller, feeling the threads of memory knit firmly into your own being. The chamber's hum grows to a crescendo, then settles into a harmonious tone that resonates in your bones. The passage ahead glows with a soft marigold light, petals drifting along the path as if forming a bridge to the next stage of your journey. Before stepping forward, you touch the ember cloak, feeling its warmth spread into your chest and clasp the vertebra tokens, now pulsing in perfect synchrony with the chamber's resonance. You sense the child guide's presence fading, their voice lingering, carry the resonance forward. The ancestors' guidance is within you, and through it, you may walk Mictlan's path with clarity, courage, and compassion. With each step, the chamber fades behind you, leaving only the memory of its wisdom and the soft glow of marigold petals marking the next threshold. Ahead lies the final trial, the chamber that tests not only your understanding of Mictlan, but the integration of grief, courage, memory, and ancestral resonance. The final archway shimmers with marigold light, petals drifting lazily through the air like golden snow. The scent of copal incense mingles with the warm, earthy breath of Mictlan itself. You step forward, feeling the pulse of the ember cloak across your shoulders, the vertebra tokens resting lightly in your palm. Each step resonates with memory, grief, and the courage you have gathered across trials, whispers, and shadows. The path narrows and opens into a vast, open hall, an amphitheater of bone and obsidian that glows with soft, ethereal light. Here, all the echoes of the ancestors, the lessons of the chambers, and the guidance of the child converge. You are both small and infinite in this space, a vessel of all journeys past and all potential journeys to come. At the center, the child guide appears, their light warm and steady. You have walked Mictlan's levels, faced your fears, and carried your grief with care. Now, the final trial is not of danger or deception, but of understanding, integration, and release. The hall shifts subtly, petals rise in spirals around you, forming translucent circles that echo the shapes of the trials you endured. The bone river, the ember path, the chamber of quiet ash, the hall of breathing clay, the chamber of listening stone, and the chamber of resonant bones. The patterns are intricate, each a map of memory, loss, and resilience. You are the vessel, the guide whispers, through which the resonance of the past flows. Here, you choose what to carry forward and what to release. You kneel, placing the vertebra tokens on a raised stone altar. As your fingers brush them, each pulses with the light of ancestral memory, laughter, courage, forgiveness, joy, and sorrow. The bone lattice of the chamber hums in response, a gentle chorus that fills the hall with sound and warmth. You feel the weight of grief you have carried throughout your journey, the pangs of lost moments, unspoken words, unresolved memories. Lift slightly, woven into the lattice of resonance. From the shadows, figures emerge, neither threatening nor ethereal, but familiar faces of ancestors, old friends, and even yourself at earlier moments in life appear. Each one offers a gesture, a nod, a smile, a hand extended. The ember cloak warms further, as though responding to the connection of past, present, and self. You have walked through shadows, the guide continues, but shadow is not the absence of light. It is the depth of life lived. The lessons you carry are the light that will guide those who follow your path. A soft wind spirals through the hall, lifting petals in a golden vortex. You close your eyes, feeling the hum of Mictlan in your chest, the pulse of bones, the breath of clay, and the whispers of stone. All trials, all echoes, all lessons converge in a single thread, binding grief with courage, memory with understanding, and loss with compassion. In the distance, a doorway appears, glowing with a warm, welcoming light. The child guide gestures toward it. This is the threshold between Mictlan and the world you know. Step through when you are ready, carrying what you have learned, leaving what no longer serves you. You rise, feeling lighter, yet infinitely stronger. Every part of you that trembled in fear or faltered in doubt now hums in harmony with the resonance of the chambers behind you. The ember cloak settles snugly over your shoulders, comforting and protective. The vertebra tokens pulse softly, reminder that memory and guidance travel with you. The hall of bones and light fades as you walk toward the threshold. Marigold petals follow, drifting along your path, and the whispers of ancestors accompany each step, neither urgent nor demanding, but persistent and gentle. You feel gratitude, awe, and a deep, abiding peace. Before stepping through, you glance back one last time. The halls of Mictlan, the river of bones, the ember path, the chambers of ash, clay, stone, and resonance stand empty, silent, waiting for the next traveler. You sense that though your journey ends here, the cycles of life, memory, and spirit continue endlessly. The doorway opens fully, warm light envelops you, and a gentle hum courses through your being. You step forward. Outside, the air smells of earth and marigold. The sun hangs low, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. The world feels richer, fuller, and more vibrant. You carry within you the resonance of Mictlan, the whispers of ancestors, and the strength drawn from every chamber, every challenge, every memory. The child guide smiles one final time before dissolving into a wisp of golden light, leaving you with the knowledge that guidance, once received, is never truly gone. The vertebra tokens in your palm feel lighter, yet weighty with significance, and the ember cloak warms your shoulders like a promise. You inhale deeply, feeling grief transform into understanding, fear into courage, and doubt into clarity. With each step forward, the petals swirl around you, anointing your passage. And though Mictlan lies behind, its lessons, its light, and its resonance move with you always. As you walk into the evening, you realize the journey through Mictlan was never about leaving the world behind. It was about learning to carry it more fully, to walk its paths with mindfulness, reverence, and courage. The echoes of the chambers, the whispers of ancestors, and the light of marigolds remain within you, eternal and guiding, as you step into the life that awaits, forever changed, forever whole. You have reached the quiet center of the underworld, traveler. Here, nothing is taken from you, only revealed, only understood. Take a moment to notice how your body feels now, lighter, perhaps, or simply quieter. The path back to the waking world is gentle, lined with the same marigold petals that guided you downward. They will carry you upward too. As you rise, remember this: your burdens can be set down, not all at once, but piece by piece, like tokens along a path. Thank you for walking this story with me. If it brought you peace, reflection, or rest, consider leaving a like or sharing this journey with someone who carries weight quietly. Until next time, may your dreams be warm, your memories kind, and your spirit always guided by golden light.